talking about today is an early 35mm camera. It's from 1938, I think, although this particular type of camera was first introduced in the early 30s. Am I going to talk about a Kodak? No. Am I going to talk about a Leica? No. I'm talking about an Agfa, and I'm talking about this camera. And I'm probably going to get the pronunciation completely wrong, so I do apologise. But it's an Agfa, and it's spelt Karat. So I'm inclined to say Karat, or is it Karat? Please let me know. But this Agfa is a very interesting camera for lots of different reasons. The first reason, I think, is because of these little cassettes. Because although this camera takes 35mm film, and if I open the back of the camera, you can see a very conventional full 35mm window here. But it doesn't take the cassette you associate with the Leica. It takes these little cassettes, which only take 12 exposures, and obviously this is a blank bit of film, you can see, but the film has to be, you would do this in a dark room or in a changing bag, and you would obviously wear gloves. I don't find these particularly easy to fill, but you can fill them yourself. If there's any good techniques of how to fill one of these little cassettes, I'd be delighted to know. And as I say, it takes about, from my memory, it takes 60 centimetres of film, and 60 centimetres of film gives you approximately, well, 12 exposures. These cameras are only designed for 12 exposures. And I'm going to start by loading the camera. So, right, it winds conventionally from the left to the right, okay? So the film goes in like so, and the other cartridge like so, and then all you do is you pull this over under the flaps, and you just insert it into the other cassette. So here you can see it's inserted from here into here, and as you wind, it will wind into the cassette. Now 60 centimetres will only give you, as I said, 12 exposures, and you can't get more exposures on these, so it is limited. But remember, people were used to getting 8 6:9 photos, so 12 was okay. Let's have a look at the camera. The first thing to note is how compact the camera is. Folding cameras were very popular in the 1930s, and people wanted a small camera, and this, you can see, is a very compact camera for the time. And if we press this button here, the camera shoots out, and we've got bellows here. We have a focusing lens. We have the focusing lens here. The lens is not the fastest lens you will find. It's a 6.3. I say 6.3. Yep. 6.3. And I believe it's a 3-element lens. It's a meter lens. The shutter speeds are B 100, 50th and a 25th. And you set the shutter speed here. So obviously you've got the viewfinder at the top here, you've got focusing here, manual focusing manual setting of the f-stop, so you have to use the Sunny 16 rule or meter, and the shutter speed at the top. The camera has a really nice Art Deco look, although the previous model was even more Art Deco. You've got this large rind knob here, and you've got the counter here. And to put the camera back in, you simply press and bring back in here, and to release, you hold this and gently release there. To take a photo, you obviously focus, shutter speed, aperture, check you have round on, and click, and rind on. What is quite unique about this camera for the time is it's setting the shutter as you are rinding on. Now remember, this camera dates from about 1936-38, so it is at least 85, 86 years old. It seems to work, and you can see the nice condition the camera is in. It is a little bit warm, but I think that is hardly surprising. But did I get any results when I actually shot with this camera? Let's find out. So remember, this camera is at least 85 years old, and the first shot, which is taken in my hallway against the light, actually works incredibly well. The lens is quite sharp and the image is absolutely fine. And okay, this is probably an uncoated lens, and this first shot outside my front door is again absolutely fine. We have a little bit of glare maybe. This was taken the week before Christmas, where there had been a bit of a disaster outside my house and some poor cars had an unfortunate accident. But the camera actually is performing extremely well. And you can see the sharpness of the shots. You can see, yes, I was initially surprised because the condition of this camera isn't fantastic. And actually, when I first received the camera, the lens was really stiff, but with a little bit of time, the lens moved quite well. The shutter speed seems absolutely fine, and the images, as you can see, are, I think, often, if you can read the number plates, that's a really good thing, and you can see the number plates really clearly on the cars here. And this is the High Street in Dorchester. Again, I thought we might get some light leaks, but there's no leaks visibly coming in. This is the old site of the Right Heart pub in Dorchester, and we see a Right Heart statue there. That was initially outside the pub. Again, all this is quite sharp and quite usable. The camera is so light and easy to use. It's smaller and lighter than a Leica. It's interesting that I have used some of the early Retinas and Retinette Kodaks, and I have had issues with the bellows, and some later Agfa cameras I've had issues with the bellows, but these bellows would appear to be quite light tight. I did do a test by getting a torch and seeing if there was any pin spots, but no. I think one of the biggest downsides of this camera is the fact that with the rapid cassettes you can only get 12 exposures at a time. I think if you could get 24, this would actually be a very usable camera. Plus the rapid cassettes are a little bit of a pain to load yourself. As I said in the forward of this video, if you have any interesting techniques of how to download the files more easily, I'll be very interested in receiving that. This proved to be a very useful and practical camera, and I was really pleased with the results. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.